All right, everybody, welcome back to Unscripted from my studios here in Columbus, Ohio. Interesting guest today, first-time guest today. This is going to be a lot of fun. And actually, I'm not sure what's happening right now, but I think we might be live streaming on YouTube, which is new.
Hey.
Anyway, Steve, I'm sorry, Mike, how are you? We were just talking about Steve.
We were just talking about Steve. It's good. You had Steve on the brain. No, I'm good, man.
Right.
I'm stoked. I'm stoked to be talking with you, man. I love that we were able to find some time in the schedule to link up a little bit.
Well, tell us a little bit about you.
Tell us a little bit about me. Oh my goodness, this isn't a dating thing, right? I'm not.
No, it's not. We're not speed dating.
That's good. That's fantastic. No, so let's see. Married to my wonderful wife Sarah. It'll be 20 years in September. Two beautiful, wonderful children. My daughter Ruthie, who's 18, going to college. That's still a tough pill for me to swallow. It's hard for me to say too. Going off to college this fall. My son Braden, he's 11. He's probably listening as I'm doing this. He's in another room. So, dude, avid sports fan, play-by-play color commentator. Do a lot of stuff for high school football. Work for Q92 Sports. They're a radio station out of Alliance. I'm a seasonal employee for them, so I do a lot of high school football. Been doing that for over 5 years. Love it. Do some things with the folks over at 330 to Go and their sports department. Help host the 330 to Go high school football show, which will be kicking off soon here in the fall. Oh my goodness. I host a podcast. That's the Cleveland Guardians cap rocking right now, the MLB Guardcast on Spotify, YouTube as well. We just joined up with the 216 network and their podcast arrangement. So looking forward to that, seeing what that does. Avid Christ follower. Let's see what else we want to talk about. I am a sports nerd. We'll go there. That can be the headline. Sports
okay.
nerd.
All right. Who won? Just right out of the gate, hot. Who threw out the first pitch on opening day in 1995 in then Jacobs Field?
At Jacobs. So they opened it in 94. So that's what you're talking, or you're talking 95?
I'm talking 95. Clinton was 94.
So,
who was 95?
Yeah. I don't know if I know this. Do I get a lifeline? Do I get a hint? Do I get...
Taylor Swift had a song that said, "I'm the problem." There you go. There's your hint. It wasn't Taylor Swift.
Oh, of course not. How old was Taylor Swift in 95? Come on now. Oh my goodness. I don't know if I know this. This is awful.
No, it's fine. I wouldn't expect you to. It was me.
You did it. Are you serious? That's fantastic.
I'm dead serious. I am dead serious.
Awesome.
Yeah. I didn't know if you saw that on Twitter. I put it out the other day because they talked about 95, and I always say, hey, if the guards ever, want to bring back a little magic, had a pretty good season in 95. But no, I won a radio contest. It was pretty cool.
Are you the righty or the lefty? Where are we going?
Oh, I was a righty, and it was a lot of fun. It was a radio contest, and it was back. I don't know if you remember a name, Mike Wolf. I'm back at WKNR. He was a morning guy, and it was one of those things where you had to call in every day. Now, I've never told this story so I'll share it for the first time.
Yes, that's
at least
awesome. I love it.
On this platform. Yeah, you had to call in every day, and you had to schmooze the host basically, and you had to be creative. And my nephew had just been born in February of that year, and so I was doing what uncles do, first time uncles. I was just making up these poems, and I'd send them in every day. And one day, one of them clicked with him. And so then we had to come back in and on that Friday, all the people, you had I think it was 2 minutes to say your piece, say why you should be the guy. And I had done poems the whole time, really cheesy now, but thinking of it, but it worked. So I came up with this quick poem. I read it in, I think it might've been a minute. It was really short. You only had a few seconds. So I did that. And then actually I was coaching a basketball team in a tournament that weekend. And we were driving up and down the hills of Mount Vernon and listening, and KNR is cutting out by the time we get to Mount Vernon. And so I'm listening to who's going to win. And I had all my friends back home listening as well. And anyway, so very short story long, but yeah, won it. It was awesome. It was so fun. It was the craziest experience of a lifetime. And the other irony is that was the strike year. And so April 1st, and so people think it was an April Fool's joke. It was not. April 1st, it snowed. Yeah. They had the bunting out and everything, but it snowed, and the game was actually against the Mets, and they were using. Okay. So that was another piece, and they were using replacement players. So I threw the pitch to a catcher named Carlos Colombino, I think his name was. I don't know why I remember that, but Yeah. Anyway, it was fun. They did all the fanfare. So guy jumped out of an airplane, landed on the field, had a little baseball in his little hip sack and handed it to me. And I turned around, and I've never been more nervous in my life. I was so
Was
nervous.
it a strike? I guess that's the question, or did you bounce it in?
No, I did. I threw a strike. I threw a seed. It wasn't like 99,
Wow.
but yeah, no, it was more of a softball pitch, because right before I walked out, my brother-in-law said, "Man, whatever you do, get it over the plate, dude." He said, "If you got to lob it, lob it." So I did. It was, it was more of a lob, but what do you call it? Slider called it a strike, and he was the umpire.
Hey,
So
that's all that matters. I too got to throw out a first pitch. My wife surprised me for my 30th birthday and signed me up to go throw out a first pitch at an Akron Rubber Ducks game.
how crazy.
And I
Isn't
didn't
it fun?
find out. Oh, I didn't find out until we got to the park that I was doing it. So I had not warmed up. I hadn't done anything.
Well,
And I hadn't thrown a baseball in probably a few years, we'll say. And but I agree with you 100%. So nerve wracking. You're nervous. You got everybody chirping, talking, like you better not bounce it in. I've got, 20 of my close family and friends sitting in the audience, and I'm like, oh, great, here we go. Well, lo and behold, I did bounce it in. I'm man enough to admit it. I was so nervous. But I got some autographs, and it was a phenomenal time. I didn't realize that we had that in common. So I like
there you
that.
go.
Except you threw a strike and I didn't.
Well, I mean, again, it's on a VHS somewhere. Now, that was before the cloud and technology. Everybody else nowadays, you'd have your phone out, but it was. So I can say I threw a strike. I could be lying, but I think I don't know.
You are.
But
I don't think you are.
It was funny though, because the guy jumped out of the airplane. He walks up to the mound and he goes, "Oh no, I brought the wrong ball." And I'm like, I'm already nervous enough, and
no,
and I'm looking at him. I'm already and I was still surprised he cleared the two headlights or the lights, because it really looked like he was going to get wrapped around him. But he's a professional, and he did it and landed. I didn't even know that was going to happen. Walks up. And so anyway, then I turned around, and I don't know about your experience, but when I turned around, it felt like the movie scene where they pan like down a hallway or something, like it gets really long. That's what it felt like. I turned around and I'm like, whoa, did they just move a home plate like 100 yards away? Because it just felt like it was the furthest throw ever. And anyway, that was a lot of fun. Not why we got on here to talk, but yeah, there you go.
That's awesome. I love it. That's fantastic.
It was a lot of fun. So yeah, we do have that in common. How did you get into the sports industry in the first place? Just love of the game, or?
Well, I think if you ask my cousins and you ask my sister, when I was a child, I would be the one who would mute the television, and when we would play our Nintendo, Sega, whatever, and I would provide the commentary during the game. I wouldn't be the one playing. It would usually be somebody else, but I had a passion for it. I loved it. I could follow the game. I understood the game, whether it's football, baseball, basketball, whatever. I understood it, and I had fun doing it, and it's definitely a passion of mine. I actually fell into it in 2018 doing the podcasting. I just love to talk, and a friend of mine's like, hey, we have this Indians podcast, but we need a host. Is that something that you'd be interested in doing? And I was like, wow, this is a dream come true. Like, yes, let's do it. So jumped in with a friend of mine, Brent Spillin, and we launched the podcast that we did for quite a while. Brent has since been replaced by Bryan Shaw, a good friend of mine, and that's who I've been doing it with now for a couple of years. And then for the play-by-play color commentary, it was COVID. 2020, and I saw on Facebook a radio station posted, hey, have you ever had an interest in play-by-play color commentary? And I was like, this could be a message from God here. Like, are you like, this is cool. Like, you don't see this very often. And I'm like, yeah, probably not good enough to get it, but I'll jump through the hoops, whatever. They filled out an application, and then they had you send them like a 3-minute clip. And I'm like, I don't have anything. So I literally looked on YouTube and recorded a game that I just provided commentary for, sent it in. They brought me in. The guy was like, do you do this full time? I'm like, no, this will be the first. Like, I do a podcast. And he's like, well, just so you know, I did a little research before you came into my office. So I've listened to several of your episodes. He's like, you love to talk. And I'm like, yeah, I concur. He's like, you'd be perfect for this. He's like, so we're going to sign you up. Here's what we're going to have you do. And I'm going to pair you with this guy. And this is what you're going to do. And I've been doing it ever since. And let me tell you, like, it's high school, but it's still so much fun. You watch these kids develop and play, and the season is so long, but it's so much fun. I wouldn't trade it for anything. So much fun.
Yeah. Unbelievable, man. That's quite the journey to get there. I get sending in the 3-minute clips and things like that. I wouldn't have one either. I mean, a lot of content, but there's nothing I'd want to send in that has the magnitude of that opportunity that would be worth it, I think. But that's awesome, man. That's incredible.
Well, we talked about Steve a little bit ago before we went on. So actually earlier this summer, the Akron Rubber Ducks were looking for a new public address announcer for their games. And I tossed it back and forth. I'm like, I don't know if I want to do this. That seems like that's above my pay grade, so to speak. And it was Steve who was like, listen, you're really good at what you do. He's like, come to my house, we'll go to the studio, cut your audition, and we'll send it in. And I haven't had, they gave you the script to read and it had to be under 3 minutes, whatever. So again, shout out to Steve. If it wasn't for him, like pushing me to do it, I'd have done it. I didn't get the job, but I didn't get the Dear John email either that was, thanks for it was actually, hey, we were very impressed with your audition. Unfortunately, we've decided to go with someone else, but if anything changes, know that, we'll be reaching out in the future. And I'm like, okay, wow, to me, that was just as good a compliment. So
yeah. That's incredible. And so you have your hands full, man. You're doing multiple podcasts. You're doing everything else that you do. You mentioned 330 and you mentioned Steve. I was going to bring that up next. So I'm glad you brought it up. And that's why I called you Steve at the beginning, is because we were talking about Steve. All good things, Steve, if you're listening to the podcast, all good things, absolutely good things. But, and I will tell everyone quickly, your screen, if anyone's watching video, your screen is green. You have a green screen, and it's probably because a lot of the things that you do, typically that does work in the platform that you use. But if people are seeing a green screen, just know that it's probably what the platform that I'm using. And so it's, once again, I'll use Taylor Swift. It's me. I'm the problem. It's me on my side. And I will also apologize for the condition of this current, I guess we'd call it studio. We're getting ready to move to a different space. It's brighter and a lot of other things. So there's a lot of boxes and stuff that maybe people can or cannot see. I'm not sure. But anyway, it'll get better. Partner dust.
You can't see. It looks, to be honest, Aaron, it looks really good. I'm just telling you that. It looks good. I've always loved your backdrop. I think it's phenomenal. I always like trying to squint and see everything that's on the shelf behind you.
Eye candy in the
back. I have that? Is that, like, what is that? And I love it, dude. It's great.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I noted. And as we look to the new space and what it's going to look like in the background, I'll keep that in mind. But yeah, no, I appreciate all my little gifts back there. That's the eye candy I hope people are looking at and not me. So there's an idea behind the design. But anyway, it's so 330 is awesome, man. It's awesome to see the growth and what's happening there. You want to talk about 330 a little bit?
Sure, we could. That started back in 2017. Two guys kicking around an idea that I happened to be eavesdropping on and was like, oh my gosh, that would be a whole lot of fun. The three of us kind of worked together for Grace Church at the time, helping them with their game day program. I know folks here at Grace Church, they immediately think of you, Mark Price. So wonderful things. But yeah, they had the game day. It was a cheerleading and basketball league. And so Hank was I called him the ringleader. So he was the guy that hyped the crowd and got everybody into it. Steve was, of course, the man behind the music and just a phenomenal job week in, week out, creating these epic playlists to get everybody moving and jumping. And we made it like a mini Cleveland Cavaliers game where these kids would run out of a tunnel. They'd have their names announced. That was my job. And I loved every second of it. I grew up obviously watching the Bulls because that's who was on television all the time. And you saw their intros and how they did it. So I kind of modeled mine around that. And of course, week one out of the gate, Steve used the Chicago Bulls intro theme to get me in the mood. And it was phenomenal. We exploded. But the three of us just kind of clicked and there was a chemistry there. And so they had talked about, hey, we're going to do this 330 to go. Back then it was a live show that we were doing from somebody's living room or somebody's kitchen and just kind of learning the technology, learning Facebook and just doing different things, covering football to food, Christmas trees, all sorts of different things that we discussed over time. And yes, to see where it started and where it is now, it's just unbelievable. Shout out to everybody that is involved with that. Steve has been a huge catalyst with all the social stuff and everybody's got a little bit of a following. They got me out of my comfort zone for sure.
That's awesome. It's great. And he was kind enough as I was telling you offline, he was kind enough to just reach out to me regarding mark, and some things that we do and what we are not currently doing. But again, part of the reason for the move, I think, is to create a little bit of a different flavor and maybe learn a lot from what 330 has done, because what they're doing is really awesome. But he was very clear to say, hey, it takes like 10 years. Like, this isn't easy, and it takes a long time. You don't just go click on the button at YouTube and start monetizing things like that. So he was awesome. Where can they find everything? Let's get all the links too before I forget.
Oh, sure.
Don't get those out. So
Facebook, it's 330 to go. I know they're on YouTube. Same thing, 330 to go. I believe they're on YouTube, 330 to go. X, Twitter, what do we call it these days? I don't want Elon Musk showing up at my house if I call it the wrong thing. But X, Twitter, I think we each have our own individual handles. I don't know if they're on Instagram or not. I just joined Instagram like 2 weeks ago, because somebody kept telling me like that was the new place to go, because apparently Facebook is for old people.
That's right.
I'm 43, and I'm like, I kind of still enjoy it, but
yeah,
let's see what this Instagram thing's all about. So yeah, just joined it too. But yeah, they're everywhere. I know that they were talking about doing podcasting and stuff. I don't know if that's something that they've continued. Again, I'm just on the sports team now. I kind of took some steps back, rejoined them again in 2021 they were launching this high school football thing, and I'm all about it. So I was very happy it was Steve. Steve calls. He's like, hey, we're going to do this high school football show. I want you to be a part of it. And I can't tell Steve no. So yeah. Steve's one of my dearest friends. So yeah, of course, he believes in me. I didn't want to let him or his wife down. And I'm like, sure, I'm in. Let's go. Let's do it. And we've been rocking it. I think this is year 4, year 5? I don't know. I've lost track. They all just kind of blend together. So
what are your podcasts? Where can people find the podcast? And what are they exactly
called? The MLB Guardcast is on Spotify. It is on YouTube. On Twitter, we are at Guardcast MLB. And then, of course, Brian and I have our individual tags as well. So we've been, like I said, we've been doing that for a while. We've gone through a name change. Obviously, when the Guardians became the Guardians, no longer the Indians, we had to do some things. But yeah, we love doing it. It's so much fun. Again, I love talking. Baseball's been my number one sport since I was a kid. Couldn't really play it well, but love to like watch and follow it. I know everybody's like, it's like watching paint dry. I'm like, no, baseball tells a story, and it is so fun to watch the beginning, the middle, and the end. And then you have the different, in-betweens that happen, which I call it a love story. Baseball is always a love story. You either love it or you hate it. So,
I mean, what's the classic line? How can you not be romantic about baseball, right?
Correct. Exactly. I mean, baseball is a love story.
And it's the nuances of the game. There's the game, and then there's the game within the game. And fans of baseball really understand what I'm talking about. That's no disrespect to anybody else that watches it casually, but when you really understand what's going on, get a guy over, get him in, those just okay, hey, can we do this? There's just a lot of game within the game, probably more than any other sport, in my opinion.
Yeah,
there's so much going on there. So yeah, it can be boring if you're sitting there and it's a 1-0 game. But if you are watching the game within the game and the maneuvers that are happening, there's just a lot happening in there that makes it more exciting for those that understand what they're looking for. And that's no disrespect to anybody else, but
I've always said it's like a chess match. It really is. You're moving pieces, you're trying different things, and one day it might work, one day it might not, but you still try it. And there's so many things. You have guys that have tremendous speed that can turn a little bloop into the outfield from a single to a triple because they're so fast. Or you have a guy that can steal bases a la Ricky Henderson, or today's game, it's Ellie De La Cruz. You have those people. You have the outfielders that have cannons for arms, and you're like, oh, I wouldn't run on him. And then he throws you out by a mile, and you're like, that's beautiful. Yeah. These guys have so much skill. And right now you've got Aaron Judge. I know he's playing for the Yankees, and I'm not supposed to like the Yankees. I get all that, but he's fun to watch. He's 7 feet tall,
somewhere there.
Yeah, it's just watching him play. You've got pitchers that are throwing gems. Paul Skeens. I mean, come on,
unbelievable.
These guys are like Shohei Ohtani throwing 102. Like, really, that's not fun to watch. I'd love to watch a guy strike me out on 3 pitches. I probably wouldn't even blink. Yeah. I'd be in awe. I'd be like, wow, he's throwing to me. Oh, wait, my at-bat's over already. Okay, let me go back to the dugout. And I'll go sit down.
And the worst part is he comes in off the plate, puts his helmet on, and hits a dinger.
Of course.
That guy's a freak. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yes, it's amazing.
Unbelievable.
I love it. They're like, he was made in a factory. I'm like, no, he was created, and he has this God-given ability to where he can throw incredibly and be an amazing hitter as well. And I think it's good for the sport. I think since he has blown up, and it's obviously you have the Asian culture, Japan, China, all of them, that this is America. So do they really care about what's going on over here in baseball? And you see how they play over there and how we play here. How's it going to integrate? And then he comes over and just becomes this overnight sensation. And
Amazing.
Now everywhere you look at the fanfare that follows him, I mean, it's I love all these players that are coming from the different, walks of life, and you hear their stories. With 3-3 to go, I got to interview Travis Bazzana when he was coming up, and he's for those that don't know, he was the number 1 pick by the Guardians in 2024, and he was playing for the Akron Rubber Ducks. It's in my backyard. I'm like, hey, I'll go down media day. Sure, I'll talk to whoever. And they're like, well, hey, you're going to interview Travis, so you better come up with some good questions. And there's nothing more I love than being put on the spot, and you've got all these people listening, and then they turn to you and they're like, okay, it's your turn, go. A buddy of mine that I had gone to media day with, he's like, you should ask him something about, what does he do for like anxiety? He's like, try taking a different angle than what most people, like most reporters, will ask. I'm like, that's beautiful. So I worded it my way and asked, and he even kind of looked at me. He's like, that's a phenomenal question. And that just put a smile on my face, because I'm like, well, he may never see me again. He may never know who I am. But at least I asked him a question that he actually had to think about.
Sure. Yeah, not the standard ones that they get a million times and they just give you the same canned answer.
Softballs all the time. Right. I love when people give. That's why when I loved you guys, when you and Mark were doing your live Q&A at one of the basketball camps, I love some of those questions, trying to get, it's a hot seat for a reason. Like, okay, yeah, who's your favorite player? Okay, we got all of those. I loved when you asked, who was Mark Price guarding when Michael Jordan hit the shot over Craig Elo? Like, I knew the answer. I was so excited. I knew the answer. I went back and watched footage just to prove it.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's those types of questions. Like, who else knew? Yeah. Only the real ones knew.
It wasn't fair to ask a bunch of children, though, who weren't even
born.
No,
but there were adults there, too. Come on. They probably had no idea who Craig Elo was, or they knew about the shot because it gets blown up on social media and everything, and history and that. Yeah, the children need to know. They need to learn. If they're going to be fans of any Cleveland team or sport, you got to know. This stuff's coming.
Mark mentioned it on his podcast this week, not a plug, but he mentioned it. We were talking about actually some of those kids, some of their knowledge was, one kid said B.J. Armstrong. How in the world did that kid know B.J. Armstrong? The only one that we didn't get was surprising was Paxson. Nobody picked Paxson, John Paxson. But somebody said Rodman. I don't think he wasn't on that team at the time.
No, he was not.
Somebody said, there was another one. I don't remember what it was, but we had some fun with it. But the one question, the kid said Lance Doherty. It was who, the question was, who is Mark's partner on NBA Jam? Because I figured the kids are probably playing NBA Jam. Somebody's going to get that one. And so I asked that question, and the kid said Lance Doherty. And we gave it to him because he got the Doherty right. But I think he was combining Larry Nance. It's like, on a test when you make it a D and then you can change it to a B just with a little line in the middle. Yeah. I think he was trying to do that. He was outsmarting us a bit. Well, he didn't know if it was Larry Nance or Brad Doherty, so he said Lance Doherty.
But I think he may have been actually correct, because isn't there a version of NBA Jam where you had different players that you could choose from? And possibly. I know the Cavs may have been one of those teams where I think it was Larry Nance, Mark Price, and Brad Doherty were the three that you could pick from.
There you go. See,
at the time, I think those were the three most popular players.
Yeah.
So
well,
this kid may have been onto something.
He probably was. And we got it, and then there's some marketing rights things. I thought about that in the back of my head after he said it. I'm like, I haven't played NBA Jam in 30 years. I'm talking the original, like on a Sega. Genesis is the last time I played NBA Jam. So I don't know, man. I have no idea.
Before it was on Sega, was it not an arcade game?
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah.
I mean, who I remember spending buku rolls of quarters playing it in the arcade. I mean, come on now. I always wanted to be the guy that did the announcing for the game.
Yeah.
Like I would try to take those phrases and try to work them into like everyday conversation.
Stuart Scott was pretty good at that. The boom shakalakas and everything else. God bless Stuart Scott. And speaking of you wearing the Carolina blue, thank you for rocking Carolina blue today.
I got the assignment. I know I'm a huge North Carolina guy. I didn't go there. I have my grandmother, may she rest in peace, used to talk all about North Carolina when I was younger, just because she had lived there. And my brother-in-law and his wife live there now. North Carolina is beautiful. I've always had a thing though for Carolina blue. It's always been, it's just something about the color. And then obviously growing up, I was a huge fan of Michael Jordan. So following him at North Carolina and then following like the men's college team when they were blowing through the College World Series. There's just things about North Carolina that always stand out. And then March Madness. Hello.
Yeah.
North Carolina always. And I know that that's near and dear to you. To be honest, it is my favorite polo. I love rocking this thing. So
it's a great
when
color.
we got this on the book, I'm like, you know what? I will wear it just for Aaron. It's my solidarity, our North Carolina brotherhood, brother.
Well, I love it. I love it. I did not go there either, but there is something special. It may be the best color in all of sports. I mean, an argument can be made for that just because it's I don't know, it's just such a great color. I don't know why, but it just, yeah. And I'm colorblind, so I probably am the last guy to maybe judge if it's the best color. I just know it's very popular. And, the Cavs this year rolled out the land and they were going with Carolina blue, which really made no sense whatsoever to their color scheme.
Those jerseys were
pretty
awesome.
Fire. They were fire. Yeah, they were one of the best. So yeah, it's fun. I love Carolina basketball clearly, but I did not fall in love with them until after Michael Jordan. So I know a lot of people probably assume it was because of Mike, but I actually came along after that, and J.R. Reed will always be my favorite North Carolina Tar Heel.
Wow, I love that. I love that. Everybody thinks it was Jordan too. Like James Worthy played for North Carolina. Yeah, and then you've got Eric Montross. I love that. I love everything that he had done and what they're doing now to honor his legacy. Like it's those things that I love.
Yeah, the family. I mean, I had not a plug. Had Adam Lucas on, who's kind of just the voice, I guess you'd say, for many of the fans. And he was talking about Eric, and he mentioned that. And like I said, it's kind of a dig to that team that's 8 miles down the road. But they talk about brotherhood. But Carolina family's different. It's just different. It's very special, the players. I hope they don't lose that. I feel like they're getting, they're doing like every other team is doing right now with the NILs and the one and dones. And they never got in that game before. There was an occasional guy here or there, but they didn't do that before. And so guys stuck around a long time and they became near and dear to your heart, like a Montross and a Hansbrough. And you could just go down the list. But I hope they're not, just past season, they had, of course, one got drafted, but how many guys left for more NIL money or whatever reason, I hope it doesn't go there. But let's talk. How do you balance everything in your life? You've mentioned several things that you do. I know how hard it is to do 2 podcasts, and I don't have all the other things on my plate that you do, including a family. My family, we're empty nesters, so I have a little bit more time on my hands that way. But man, you've got a family, you've got all the things that you've mentioned. How do you balance everything?
God bless the calendar, the color-coded calendar that keeps me in line. My wife, very organized. For me, it's seasons. So obviously, I like to do these things, but in order for me to be able to do them, I think it helps that they're in different seasons. So we know baseball is super long. I would love for them to kind of shorten that up at some point. That would be really good because 162 games plus a postseason. Baseball starts in like March and finishes in like November. It's so long.
It is long.
So we can short that up. But like for high school football, it's 10 weeks regular season, and then usually we'll cover teams until they're no longer in the localities that we cover. So that is helpful for me. I don't need to do a ton of research. I can pull facts, and I mean that's pretty easy to do. It's something that I really enjoy. So of course it's fun for me. It's very easy. The support of my wife and kids. I mean that helps. They know that I enjoy doing it. Like my wife saw this on the calendar for today. And it's funny because our church, Grace Church, does an unscripted podcast.
Oh, is that right? I didn't know that.
Yeah, they did. And so she's like, wait a minute, you might need to send them a letter. I don't know. I think you were here first.
They'll probably send me one.
So she saw it on the calendar and she's like, what you got selected for Grace's? And I'm like, no. Aaron Conrad, I said, who I met at Grace with Mark Price and all that. I said, he does a phenomenal job with this podcast. I said, I'm a homer. He posted that who should he interview next? And I said, I threw it out that it needed to be me. I'm nobody special, but like, I enjoyed getting to talk to you, and like, I love what you've been doing. And I'm like, if he's got an opportunity, why not? If I could waste, I wouldn't call it wasting, but I don't care how long we talk, like just hearing your side of things and just hearing like you're very passionate about a lot of things. So it's great to, to get that out there. Maybe people don't know who you are, but they know me, and they're like, oh, wait a minute, who's this guy? And hey, if I can help push people your way, I'm all for it, bro.
Well, man, I appreciate all the kind words. Unscripted started during the pandemic. I was bored. And one thing that never goes out of style is everybody's got a story, So whether it's pandemic or not, or doesn't matter, we all got stories. So I just started telling stories. It was my initial friends, and, and then it just kept going and going. And I threw out a couple of Hail Marys, and a couple of people said yes. And before you know it, but I've always wanted it to be, anybody. Everybody's got a story, whether you're a MLB, former NBA All-Star, Grammy winner, the guy next door, somebody at church. We all got a story. And at the end of the day, they all bleed the same.
Yeah.
We all put, like they say, we all put on our pants the same way. So
it's exactly what I was getting ready to say. You put your pants on the same way I do every day. So,
and it's awesome. It's awesome. And the funny thing is, when you, not to quote more cowbell, but some people, when they put their pants on, they make gold records, but not everybody does.
I love it. That's awesome.
But what's really funny and true is some of the stories, everybody's got a story, and a lot of them are just as interesting. They're just not up on stage in front of 20,000 people or playing in an arena packed full of people. Man, they're just as interesting. Their life has been awesome, and the things that we've talked about here today. So thank you for those very kind words. I really do appreciate it. Podcasting, as you know, is a very lonely sport. It can be very lonely, and people probably don't understand that, but it really is. You kind of just throw things into an echo chamber and hope somebody responds. And, it can get discouraging and lonely, which is why there's probably 6 million now, but last I heard there was like 5 million. And if you record more than 10, you're in the top 10% of all podcasts recorded.
Yeah, it's something crazy. Podcasting, we're a community, whether you talk about sports, faith, whatever, we're all people. And if there's something that somebody talks about that I'm like, wow, that's really good, I'm going to share it. Isn't that what social media is for? I understand that people use it for other things, but I use it to kind of like build people up, and like there could be something somebody says and I'm like, wow, that needs to be in more people's hands. So me hitting a share button takes 1/10 of a second, but it may impact somebody 1,000,000 times. You don't know, but it doesn't hurt to share that kind of stuff. And that's why I love helping people out. I love sharing episodes, and anytime you did with you and Mark and like that podcast, I share it all the time because there's stuff in there that's really good for everybody. Like, I know the podcast I do, it's baseball centric, it's Guardian stuff, but it's more to kind of help my ego, I guess. I don't know how else to put it, but it's fun to do. I enjoy it. But then there are other podcasts that are, I think, way more meaningful, way more life building, and that's kind of what it's about. So again, it's lonely, but doesn't hurt to share and put people in touch with different things.
Well, and I learn from people that come on, my guests. I mean, I learn just as much as anybody hopefully listening, and I appreciate all you sharing and all your support in that, because I learn. So if nobody hears it, I've said this a million times, if nobody hears it, I'm the benefactor in this thing, not financially, certainly not financially, but from a friendship equity standpoint, from a emotional standpoint, I've made incredible friends that I've been able to do some really cool things with, Mark included, but many others as well. I've been able to do some things that have just been awesome, and again, there wasn't money involved. It was just the equity of having this person on a guest, getting to know one another, just like we're doing and have done. And man, you're a friend, man. We text, we connect on social media, that kind of thing. Man, I love that. That's what it's, to your point. There's a lot of bad in social media. There's a lot of bad in podcasting. There's a lot of, and unfortunately, the people that get elevated are the kind of a lot of the trash that's in podcasting. It's worse for for society. It's really sad when you look at like who the top 5 podcasters are. And this is not naming names. I'm just saying, it's like, man, what? Seriously? Like, that's what we're filling people's ears with when they're on a drive to work every day. So yeah, it's an interesting thing. Let me take a complete hard turn and say, you've mentioned Grace. Now, I've been to Grace a few times. Another guy, Mark Stellar, man, what a guy. What an
Oh,
absolute dude. I mean, he's just
yeah.
a dude, and he's an incredible. So anybody that I've connected with from Grace, y'all kind of have the same common thread, which is obviously Jesus, but you're all connectors. You're all just, there's a reason why I think that church is going places, and why it's growing, and why it is having the success that it's having. Obviously God is favoring it, but when you have the people that understand who they are and who God created them to be, and they're all working together, all rowing in the same direction, man, it's really special. And so can you just talk about Grace? You talked about the game day, which is off the charts, the
Mhm.
coolest thing in the world. I wish we lived in that area when my kids were younger. They'd absolutely been a part of that. Can you just talk about Grace for a second?
Yeah, absolutely. My wife and I actually stumbled into Grace a church back in 2011. So long time ago. My cousin had been going, and my wife and I had kind of, once we got married, we had kind of bounced around to a couple different churches. We were looking for home, and just the places we had tried just weren't a good fit. My cousin's like, hey, there's this pastor at Grace. He's hilarious. He talks about like how he ages like a fine wine and he's sexy, but like then he integrates like this amazing, powerful message with it. And I'm like, dude, you've got to be kidding me. Like I have to go check this out because I don't believe it. And we went, and it was unbelievable how much God worked the moment we kind of walked in that door. Met some incredible people. My family actually suffered a huge loss. Probably we went to Grace in October of 2011, and my father unfortunately passed away in February of 2012 due to a heart attack. And there were people that we hardly knew that rallied around me, my wife, and my daughter. My son wasn't born until 2013, but these people we had just met, and they're bringing food to my house. They're, hey, what do you guys need? Anything you need? Like, I had never seen anything like this. I had never experienced anything like this in my life. And some of those people to this day are still very close. I call them family, the friends that become your family. Like, these were amazing people. And just to kind of watch how God moved really solidified what this place meant. And obviously we've been there ever since. To see what God has done through Grace is incredible. We once packed 1 million meals for Feed My Starving Children. I got to be one of a few MCs that they do these packing events through a company called Feed My Starving Children. And they basically take over the church for a week, and you're packing these meals that consist of like rice, soy, like vegetables and things, and you make it fun. Like there's 30 tables and everybody's packing, kids are involved. It's so much fun, and we got to do it 1 million times. Like it was unbelievable. That to me is probably one of my most favorite moments at Grace. Being able to be a part of that in a very minute, small way. Yeah, I was a guy with a microphone yelling that, table 7 needed more rice, or we're playing a game while they're packing food, but to see God work in that way, and you said Mark Stellar, like the 5K, the Grace Race, the stuff that they do with that is incredible. They raise money for Feed My Starving Children, and it's become, I think, something that people look forward to every year. Like, what can we do to help? What can we do to beat last year? How can we be more impactful? What can we do to help more people than we did last year? And when you're able to be a family and you can include kids, even if they're really little, and you make it a family thing, that's 10 times better. Because then you're not only serving God as a family, but look what you're doing. Look what the outcome is. How many meals you're being able to feed somebody that doesn't have what we have. Mm-hmm. And just the things that Grace does, their childcare is absolutely incredible. They love your kids like they're their own. At the end of the day, though, they get to send them home. They don't get to keep them, but they send them home.
That's the best part.
But they get to learn about Jesus. They get to learn about somebody who loves them near and dear, no matter what they do, no matter what their faults. Like there's like the collective stuff that's blowing up with the college age from 18 to 29. It's like taking over the world. You see what's happened at college campuses across the country. Like there's a revival almost happening with these young kids that their hearts are on fire and they want to do what the Lord's calling them to do. And it's just incredible to just sit back and go, wow, Like, this is God's totally moving. You said it. Grace, like, everybody asks Grace, like, what's the secret ingredient? I think it's the people. I think it's those that we put our heart and soul into things, because this is for God's kingdom. So why not? It isn't for me. Sure, I may get joy out of doing it, but what's the ultimate goal? Like, we're trying to win souls for heaven here. Like, we're trying to build this amazing team in heaven. So there's not anybody I want left off that roster. So I'm going to do whatever I can. And I think there's a lot of people that feel that same way, and even more so. It's a lifestyle for us.
Yeah. Wow. And it's true. I think anybody I've interacted with would echo what you've said. That I think in order to have a strong, that's the church that I think Paul talks about throughout Scripture. That's the church, not all the other stuff that I think a lot of times we can get caught up in. That's what Paul was very clear about in his letters to a lot of those churches that he was talking to. So, man, as we wrap, I ask all my guests this. What would you tell your younger self?
Dear younger me. That's one of the things I love that you do. And I think it's phenomenal. To me, I think for me personally, I would have loved to have told my younger self that it's okay to believe in Christ at a younger age. I think when I was younger, I really didn't understand it. I really, my parents didn't go to church. My mom had MS. She was diagnosed when I was 10. She only lived until I was 20. So, I went to church with my grandparents, and it was kind of a forced thing, because the night before, while my parents were young and healthy, they were in a bowling league. So my sister and I would go. We'd, get quarters to play the vending machine, play the NBA Jam, and play all these other fun games, and we'd get up early in the morning, and I always felt like it was forced. Had I just taken the blinders off and realized what was in front of me, where my life would be, not saying that my life right now isn't horrible, but I honestly think it could be so much better had I listened to my younger self back in the day.
Yeah. Wow. It's great advice, and it's true. I think a lot of people could say that, just because we were raised in the church doesn't mean we were in the church. We were, right. That same story can apply to me as well. It wasn't until I left for college, and I went to a Christian college, and even then it took me 3 years to really find my way the right way, figure a lot of things out. But yeah, that's why I like that question. It's because I always learn something from whoever comes on.
I didn't find Jesus truly until I probably was about 25, I think. 24, 25 is when it finally clicked. I had somebody that actually invested in my life, took me to a Promise Keepers event in, I hate to say it, but it was in Detroit, Michigan, in Joe Louis Arena, and being around, 30,000 men singing praise and worship songs, that completely turned my life upside down. I could not explain to you how I felt leaving that event. I gave my life to Christ that night, and I would love to say I've never been the same. Obviously, there's peaks and valleys, there's seasons of life, but knowing that regardless, he's there always. And all he wants to do is talk. So, and again, what did I say earlier? What do I love to do? I love to talk. So we're a perfect team. That's kind of how I look at it.
I love it, man. I appreciate your intentionality in life, but also, even in this podcast today with the Carolina blue and the hat and everything, and just being an encourager, man, that means a lot. It really does mean a lot. And you're an encourager, not just in this podcast, but online, on Facebook, you mentioned earlier. Just those things matter, especially in the toxic, you've mentioned, we've talked about social media a little bit. It's so toxic, man. And so when you find people that are like-minded, they're not diving into the toxicity of it, but trying to keep it real and have it still be a good place to go and just see what's going on in a friend's life. It can still be great. It really can. It's unfortunate how it's been utilized, for the last, 5 years or whatever it may be. But, and before I forget, to go is on Instagram, because I followed them. I think it was earlier this week. And I think it's at 330 to go if I got that correct. So check out 330 to go. Check out all the podcasts. Support my guy. Man, I appreciate you being on today. It's been awesome.
Dude, Aaron, I love what you do, brother. That's why when I saw the invite, I'm jumping to the front of the line. I'm going to throw my hand up. If he says yes, great. If he doesn't, that's fine too. And then it let me pick when, and I'm like, wow, this guy really, really doesn't mind that it's going to be me. So I'm going to pick a time and I love it. I love what you do. Keep doing what you do, brother. You
Thank
are
you.
a light to those that need it. I mean, just the knowledge of things that you have, the humor, the just everything that you're doing, bro. Keep doing it. I love it. I love that we got connected again through Mark Stellar. Shout out, Mark. Heal
That's
up,
right.
brother. I know
Yeah.
it's not fun when you get hurt, but thankfully no surgery for him. But he'll be back. We text, like you said, you and I text. I'm coming for you though in the next March Madness tournament. I'm coming for Mark Price too. I want everybody to know my goal in life is to be able to ask Mark Price one question. I won't tell you what it is. It is a question that I have had that I would love to ask him, and eventually someday I will get to ask him.
Well, yeah, we'll see if we can make that happen. I mean, I'm surprised I didn't know that. If I knew that, we would have made that happen when he was just up there, last week or the week before? My dates run together.
No, I think it was 2 weeks ago, something like that. I don't know.
2 weeks ago.
I agree. Yesterday's Monday, right? I have no idea what the days are. The sun sets, it falls, the days kind of just blend together.
Yeah, they really do, especially when we do what we do and we're running around doing all the different things that we do. Agreed 100%. So, man, this has been awesome. Can't wait to get up to Grace again and just hang out. Be awesome. If
Absolutely.
I'm up in that way, or if you're ever down this way, let me know and we'll hang out, man.
Absolutely, brother. Looking forward to it. I appreciate you having me on. Appreciate the time today, bro. Love you, man.
Love you too. Appreciate you. And oh, by the way, look out for C-Bus SquarePants again in this year's fantasy football.
I love it. I love it.
I think we've been in last place the last 2 years.
I finished dead last year. I had injuries decimated my poor fantasy team. It was it was over early.
I blame my son because I said the only way I was going to do it was the first year, and I said you got to be the GM because I don't even really follow football. I'm a Raiders fan, so that tells you my life as a football fan. I'm like, dude, you're gonna have to take the. I'm kidding. He did a great job, and I think he lost interest too because we had some injuries and some other things happen as well. But that's the fun of it. But again, great group of guys to just be a part of, and it's always fun.
Absolutely,
right, brother.
Whether you win or lose, man, it's how you play the game, right?
That's right, 100%. Well, I'll keep looking at you in 3-3 over to go, and let's hang out soon.